Mike, welcome back.
Thanks.
2026.
2026.
Happy New Year. Happy holidays.
Yeah, Happy New Year to you too. Happy holidays.
And you've been back to the US?
Yep, I was in California for a couple weeks. It was good.
Played some golf?
Relaxed, played some golf.
Saw the folks?
Yeah, saw the folks.
Saw the family?
Saw some friends. Yeah, it was good.
How'd you hit?
Yeah, not bad.
Yeah, not bad.
Not bad.
Yeah, it's always not bad with you though, isn't it? It's not bad. I haven't been playing that well lately, but hey, it is what it is. So welcome back, everybody. Enterprise AI Weekly. I'm sorry to say that over the happy holidays, we didn't have a weekly go at this. It's been a few weeks, but why don't we tell you a little bit of what we see has been happening over the holidays and what we understand that we think is interesting, and hopefully you do as well. So first of all, the most read AI stories, the things that people are most talking about is not chips and models. That was last year. 2026 is more about people, having AI partners, fake celebrity news, fake celebrity AI, mental health bots, household helpers in CES is sort of going crazy and dominating what's coming. And it's no longer, AI is no longer something we deploy, it's something we live with. So that human factor is really starting to come through, which is a really interesting shift. If that continues through 2026 and just builds, that's going to be a very different year from 2025, which was all about AI infrastructure and how much money people were spending and how fast things were and all that sort of stuff. So really interesting times again. The interest doesn't stop.
Yeah, it'd be really interesting to see how it develops this year, especially around like just doing household things, right? Like buying things online, or whether I can just type something in to see if I can do remedial tasks that I don't want to do at all. That'd be cool.
Yeah. Not at work though.
No, never.
All right. Okay, so what's happening? So trust, identity, safety now seem to drive adoption as well as capability. People are sort of really interested in getting good answers, emotional answers, social impact, etc., like that, and worried about that. So let's talk about what's happening. So during December, 62% of adults in developed markets interacted with Gen AI. Now, that's not much for us, but that number is growing substantially. And a lot of what seems to be happening is people aren't even realizing they're doing it now. Like it's just part of their daily routine, like picking up a pen or hitting a keyboard or logging into email. It's just the way we work, which has sort of gone from a lot lower number in the start of 2025, certainly across people outside of development and AI, to now everybody. Pretty cool.
Yeah, it's really interesting. And I think we'll probably see it in a lot of the different things that we interact with every day, right? Like, and hopefully that's a good thing. I think a lot of it was people were a little bit bored and tired of chatbots by the time they came around, but now that they're seeing a lot of those have a lot more capabilities, can do a lot more things. There's a little bit of a shift there where people are actually trusting in the AI to actually help them with whatever it is on a website or using it with a company or to fill something out. So it'll be interesting to see how that changes.
Yeah. Turning on agent mode and just letting it do it. And then at the end of it, if it's either done it right or wrong, and then you need to fix it and do it again, or it needs to fix it and do it again. All right, so let's talk about through the big trends. So AI ideal partner. So the whole idea of people generating AI images of their imagined romantic partner, from selfies to sharing them across TikTok and Instagram. Apparently during December, there was over 120 million views of this stuff. So people just made up their inverted commas mate or their romantic partner and said, this is the person for me. And what do? You send it out there and say, hey, does anybody look like them? Or is that, I sort of don't get it.
Okay, is that what you do? Or is it like fake, like that's your...
I don't know. It's hard to tell why people are doing it, right? But, you're hopeless too, right? You've got no idea either, do you?
No. Yeah, it seems a little apocalyptic, doesn't it? A little sci-fi. I'm not crazy about that. But.
No, I'm not sure that one's great. But hey, obviously people are excited about it. Let's see if that number grows. We'll keep a bit of a monitor on that for you to see what's happening there. So celebrities push back on AI fake news. So this is a really interesting one. So to me. So people have engaged 3 times more with the fake story than the corrected one afterwards. So it's almost like you get AI to create a fake story about someone based on something that people are more interested in finding out about them. It's like it's sort of grabbing into false truths that people really want to sort of find out about people. Like, so and so's now been divorced, so that's a really good story. It's interesting because now they're divorced, now they're not, sort of thing. Like, it's a bit sad again.
It is, yeah. It's a bit because way more. The scoop is way more interesting than the boring follow up that it wasn't true, right? So yeah, that one's a little scary. Hopefully AI can help fight back on that and maybe make it easier for people to say if it's fake or not. But
once again, the trust part's a big part, right?
Yeah.
And socially, are people going to be that excited about stories that are generally unfortunate, I suppose, about people, right? But hey, that's what's happening. They're 3 times more engaged. Household productivity. So CES came out. So CES show, if everybody understands, is sort of the computer electronics show. Happens every year. Happens in multiple countries every year. The one in Las Vegas, I think it is, that might be wrong, is just been out sort of late last year. And the number that people are coming up with is you should be able to save somewhere between 5 and 7 hours right now with AI-assisted planning, shopping, chores. Like we've got a vacuum cleaner. Didn't last too long, but one of those robot vacuum cleaners that sort of drove around. We're looking to buy another one because it is actually quite good. The fact that you wake up in the morning, your floor's been vacuumed and maybe even mopped. But like everything else, shopping. Michael, you're doing all your shopping via AI every week. Is that what you're going to be doing?
Make things easier for things that I don't want to buy, right? There's exciting stuff that you want to buy and look at yourself, but I just feel like I have an endless task of things to do at home.
So you're telling me that AI is not buying your golf balls, is that right?
That's right. Yeah, exactly.
Or your golf clubs. Got it. So AI, once again, that whole sort of idea where it's more human rather than GDP or economics related. It's trying to find human time. This one's cool. Holograms. So I saw the founder of LinkedIn, Reid Hoffman, I think his name is. I saw he'd done this sort of full-size hologram of himself that people were talking to. Apparently now a company's come out and for $20 you can reserve a little mini hologram that sort of sits there, and instead of Alexa you're going to have a hologram that's talking at you and can respond to you like an LLM. You buying one of them?
That could be cool. That could be really interesting. I don't know if that's at least a little bit more personable, right? It's a bit, I don't know what you'd need a hologram for, but there would at least be a person there that you could talk to. That would be kind of interesting rather than sort of just into the computer. But it depends what the use case was, I guess.
Yeah, look, I don't know. Like maybe that's cool.
And if you could sort of multiply someone like that, someone so they can actually be, I don't know. I still can't really think of how it would work very well, though. Potentially for them to do speeches or something, so it's in person rather than having to watch it on a video screen. Something might be a little bit better in that case.
Actually, really, like even for people that can't hear sign language, so I couldn't get there. I was signing my own word, or trying to. The whole idea of maybe you could have like that translation thing being a person doing signing in a hologram for you. Maybe that'd be cool.
And facial expressions would be better. You could have more sort of nonverbal communication could be better if it was good enough. I mean, it's still pretty good on Zoom, or Teams or whatever you use, but could be better. But
there was a movie with one of those in them, right? That had a hologram that was like, I can't remember what movie it was anyway. It's pretty cool. Right. So once again, laundry bots, health mirrors, smart helpers. There was 2 times more engagement at CES on consumer lifestyle pieces than enterprise demos. So once again, this whole consumer style piece is really starting to come through, although for like the last couple of years at least, it's all been about return on investment in enterprises. Enterprises are really going to need to understand what the consumer side of it is that's actually going to be driving what the expectation for their employees is going to be about what's happening in enterprises. AI mental health chatbots have grown 40 to 60% increased usage in December. I'd be interested to see what the growth of just any mental health service during that period is, because it's quite a lonely time for people quite often.
I'd be interested to see if it works too, if it's helpful or not.
Yeah.
Because it could be great if it works really well. It'd be interesting to know if it's better to talk to a person that's experienced whatever it is that you're trying to think about. But
I imagine psychiatrists and psychologists that have spent years doing training and education are going to tell you they're going to be better than an AI. But yeah, as you say, who knows? A little scary though, like if the AI goes a little crazy and starts telling you to do something stupid, then
yeah,
which hopefully that wouldn't happen on a human-to-human interaction. Tech films, so all the festivals that are coming up seem to be dominated by AI in terms of tech. 20%, at least 1 in 5 of all documentaries that are tech-related at all have AI about it and the culture of what AI changing is, which sort of makes sense, I suppose.
Yeah, what did I watch recently? Mission Impossible? The new Mission Impossible is the crazy AI that takes over the world, essentially.
Yeah, correct.
And they're always kind of like that, too. It's sort of nuclear weapons or bioweapons or whatever it is. And now the scary things.
AI is more important than humans sort of concept, right? Yeah, the Terminator deal. Right, so it's the big thing. It's coming, right? And it's coming now on the human side and it's coming on the consumer side, and enterprises are going to need to work out how to bring that into their space. So New Year, so the optimistic view is that in this 2026, AI is giving people time, not just efficiency, right? So, it's not just giving you more for the same amount of time, it's hopefully giving you some time back. And then the other side of it is creativity and self-expression is expanded dramatically. Like you're spending more time collaborating with AI to create things that don't exist. And that's, that creativity is a collaboration with AI rather than sort of all in your own head or even with others, people collaborating with their head. Pessimistic view is misinformation, emotional dependency, scale faster than the safeguards and the trust around it. And we get into this horrible sort of spiral where nobody can trust it and trust erodes and long-term adoption falls away. So there's your optimistic and your pessimistic views and outlook for 2026. Let's find out what happens over the next 12 months. But one thing seems to be definitely coming. It's going to be less about benchmarks and more about how people feel about it and whether or not they want to continue to engage, because it's doing more than just the return on investment for enterprises. So that's the world in terms of news. The world in terms of Michael, other than holiday period, was before that you went away to Austria. Can you give us a little bit of a rundown of what happened in Austria, why you were there for a start?
Sure. So we were at the Digital Permits Conference, and really the point of that is to get a lot of academics, businesses, local councils together
from where?
Around the world.
Okay.
So it was in Austria, mostly Europe, but there were sort of people from Canada, the US, obviously us from Australia, a few Asian countries and a couple other places. And really the main thing that we notice is the idea is people are trying to get to a point where you can have automatic approval of development applications, right? So someone wants to build something, they submit what they have to build, and the computer says yes or no, essentially.
Yeah, got it.
And so what the biggest theme that we saw across that was this idea of BIM, which is building information modeling, and essentially what that is it's creating a schematic of a property down to exactly what the bolts are going to be, what the materials are going to be, everything about what you're trying to build, so that they can then submit that and ultimately get approval or not approval based on what they have. And so that's really sort of coming down the line. That was really interesting, I think, and a lot of people were really focused on that. And I think one of the things that we noticed in having a lot of conversations with people is that that's really focused on the actual assessment of an application and how you actually get something approved. But really the big pain points that a lot of these councils are having and a lot of the businesses that are working in there is the things that happen outside of the actual core assessment piece. That's the part where you need someone really smart who understands the industry or understands how the buildings work, understands the properties and legislation to really go into depth on the property. And so that having a clear understanding of what the building is will allow them to do that. But there was more of a gap and less focus on the outside things. So the easy, simple things that seem not like a big deal, but they really are, like answering a bunch of questions for people about what they can build, actually doing those initial checks, making sure all the signatures are there, the things that actually take a lot of time but don't actually add a huge amount of value other than slowing things down. And so that was kind of the big gap that we noticed there talking to people, which was really interesting.
Okay.
And so, yeah, that's one thing we'll probably focus a bit on.
Yeah. Okay. So it was a couple of days, yeah?
Yep.
And was there much AI in it?
Not much. Like, there were a few things here and there. Some of the academics had done some research on sort of how you can look up things in legislation, but nothing too advanced or super practical, except for us, of course.
Except for us. Right. So what we've got, based on what you saw over there from a digital planning perspective, is up there.
Yeah, definitely.
From a point of view of use of AI, successful use of AI, getting information out of documentation, out of legislation, and doing, to your point, the chores that nobody wants to do, like
something practical that'll save time today.
Yeah, okay, got it. Okay. And yeah, because, well, it sounds like digital planning is sort of this future that everyone wants to get to today, but fixing the real problems that we've got today that are difficult and slow and boring is something that people aren't focusing on. But,
exactly.
But we've got, and when they saw it, they said, yeah, actually that would be useful today.
Right. And the BIM aspect, those really complicated computer programs, super helpful, probably where it's going, but there are a bit of ways from everyone using that and speeding things up sort of tangibly.
Very cool. And what was the best thing about Austria? Where were you?
We're in Vienna.
What was the best thing about Vienna?
It's Christmas time, so it's a really good vibe there.
Yeah,
Christmas markets everywhere, lights. It was cold, which is kind of cool. I like the cold. Not like Australia. I think it's 45 degrees again today.
Yeah, perfect. Perfect. Okay, and then is there any next steps there? Like, is there any people that were, or companies, or anything that was sort of interesting, without naming names, just sort of broadly what people are interested in next steps?
Yeah, so we've had a number of conversations with a lot of the councils that were there afterwards. So preliminary conversations to sort of figure out what's their process look like, what's their legislation look like, so we can start to have an idea of what that looks like. And really what we've seen at the beginning is that it's similar to Australia. They've got bad applications that come in, a lot of tedious tasks that are slowing everyone down, and those are the things that they want help with.
Right. So finding people more time by taking away chores.
Exactly.
Right. Like, it sounds like we've wrapped that really quite nicely around this. It may sound intentional to everybody out there, but we're not that good. Look, thank you very much, everybody. Welcome back to 2026, and we'll get back to our weekly update coming shortly.